We received funding for this through the government, 33% federal, 33% provincial, and the remaining is the township. With that funding from our government partners requires, I wouldn't say extra, but definitely more communication with our Indigenous partners on the different EA study reports. There's 3 in this area. Unfortunately, to get all 3 to agree on one thing is trying to be a little difficult. We are working through it. We are very close. And then Department of Fisheries, because it's in water, we've actually just heard back from them this week about another test that they want for endangered species. So we're getting through it. I've met with the engineers. We're hoping everything will still go. With the temp where we are now, any in-water work can't start until July, so we do have a little bit of time to get everything finalized. The plan is to get this finalized, tendered, and being able to start. We do have until 2027 for the funding without having to ask for an extension. Hopefully we won't have to ask for that extension. Some good news. The new John Deere grader has arrived just in time for winter. We actually put it to use this week with the snow that we had. It was out doing some ice blading, and everything appears to be working as it should be, so that's great. Service sharing. So we met in Ingersoll. We have discussed some different options for plow trucks. Just to give council a bit of an update on that. It was pre-approved earlier this year to arrange to have a cab and chassis for 2027, or sorry, 2026 coming up the budget year. In speaking with Viking, who typically has done our plow equipment and our box setup on the truck, they are now 18 to 24 months out. So if we want to do a Viking, which is typically what we have done, we'd be looking at the fall of 2027. So myself and the other directors in the area from Oxford we went to see an EPL, which is basically, if they're from Quebec, manufactured in Quebec. They do have an assembly warehouse and a parts warehouse in Brantford, so they are moving into this area. I have spoken with some users from Lambton County who has them. Nothing but good things to say about them. Myself and Bob, our road supervisor, are going to look at one that is at the Brantford Metro tomorrow morning. Obviously, I will bring a report back. Pricing wise, they're right on par with Viking. So this may be a viable option. And their timeline is July, August of 2026. So we'll actually get the truck completed when we need it to be completed. So then we had a big discussion about that at our service sharing meeting. AORS, so our next in-person meeting will be at the Good Roads Conference. That is March 29th to April 1st of 2026. So if anyone from council is wishing to go attend that, please let me know, and when I'm booking my stuff, I can book theirs as well. From a drainage standpoint, locates are still coming in. Most of the repairs have been completed now, but Adam is still working on, stormwater management ponds, paperwork, ECL, the CLI, ECA documentation is something that needs to be constantly looked at and maintained, for all the developments and stuff that are projected to come. So he's working on that. Staff was very busy in November grading roads. We did have one storm. that we got through. Winter appears to be here a little earlier than everybody had hoped, but everything is ready, and we have been out and looking after that kind of stuff. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council at all? I just have one. I don't know if I missed it from you or not. Is Viking, is that Canadian or American or?
They are Canadian.
Okay.
So is EPL. They're both
Okay.
Canadian companies. Yeah.
That's-
Viking, they're in Mount Forest, and where EPL is Quebec.
Okay, that's good to know. Councilor Bambury.
Yeah, I just have a comment to make, and it's in regards to the level crossing in Princeton. I know we don't have too much to say about it, but I experienced another thing this morning. I was at the post office again, and when I was going into Princeton, there's still a detour road you're supposed to go around, but anyway, local traffic. I went down to mail a couple of letters at the post office, so when I was going across the tracks, I noticed way up to the west, there was you can see the light, you can see a long ways, there was a train coming. I didn't know whether it was a freight or what it was. Anyway, I went across, parked at the post office, mailed my 2 letters, and I was just heading back to my car to leave when this huge float coming from the north, heading down through Princeton to the south. He was coming at a pretty good speed, but he slowed right down to the tracks. And I think he realized how rough they were when his tractor hit, so he slowed right down to crawl, because there was a huge excavator on there. I had probably over 60 or 70 tons, the whole thing. Anyway, so he crawled across the tracks. And anyway, it turned out to be, and the arms came down before he had cleared the tracks. So it was a matter of about 6 or 7 seconds before the Via train went through. It was one of those brand new ones with an engine on both ends, and he must have been going well over 100 kilometers an hour. If they had ever had a head-on collision, half of Princeton would be gone maybe. It was just terrible. It was actually frightening. So what I think we should do is get in touch with the county and tell them they've either got to put up some signage back a ways from the railway tracks, or else close that road altogether until CN gets that fixed. Because it's just an accident waiting to happen.
So
Even with a car or a truck, small truck, you just have to crawl over there,
Yeah.
or you're going to damage your vehicle. And I can't get that out of my mind, that vision, because
yeah.
the train would have derailed, the engineers would have been killed, it would have been a mess. Stubbies would have been wiped out. And it was just a matter of seconds, really. The back end of his trailer, his long trailer, just nicely cleared the tracks when that train went by.
So I meant to update council last meeting. I forgot until after I got out. I had some conversation with Daniel Salvatore. Is that it? Salvador or something like that? Anyway, the rep for there. I was told it was going to be done by the end of November, weather permitting. So we are now into December.
We've dealt with him before.
Yeah. So he you know what it's like trying to get things done through that group. So maybe this week, whether it's yourself or myself, I'll get a hold of him. I know myself, Oxford County, and the press had all got a hold of him. There was actually a little piece in the Air News about it a few weeks ago, and their comment was it would be done by the end of November. So maybe I'll reach out to him. I'll make a note and I'll write it.
Would it be possible to get the county to put up some signage?
Yeah.
Like most of the through traffic goes up the second around on the detour. Well, especially today, there was a detour, emergency detour route. But there is a lot of local traffic that you can get right straight through now, so.
Used to be
I would
able to
still
stay
like-
off to the side,
At the very
but
least, I would like to
do
see
that.
signage up to warn people.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even stay off to the side anymore because it's getting so rough over there too. It is really bad. What my concern was is somebody is actually, sounds silly, but a wheel could break right off going over those tracks. That's how bad they're getting. And then they're sitting there. So, yeah. Do you want to talk to Oxford and I'll see if,
to Oxford County and see about getting some signage put up
yeah.
back further. So
And I'll maybe try and get a hold of the CN rep again and say, hey, it's December, what's going
I
on?
really don't know why that load was going through Princeton unless he was going to the project or something, but
It might have been a Cassidy excavator
I think we
going down to the
Should have paid
jobs.
attention to put the, I don't know if it had any writing on the cab or not.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I didn't see anything on the excavator, but ordinarily, if he'd been going, maybe he was, because ordinarily he would have gone up and around
Yeah.
that way, but
Yeah.
it was a scary sight anyway.
Okay, anything else from council? I just wrote a couple other things down. I was going to talk to you after, but I'll do it now. Just the sidewalk where you come into the school on, God, I walk it every day and I can't even remember the name of the street. Mechanic? Is that Mechanic that goes into the school on that side?
You're talking the,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over by your house there, yep.
Yeah, I've only been walking it for 50 years, 60 years, 62 years. Anyway, remember last year I talked to you about the plow going down there? So what's happening is, I had the neighbors call me again that's down there. What happens is the sidewalk cleaner goes down, and then because there's no boulevard, then the plow goes down and fills the sidewalk in. Well, the kids have to walk on the road to get to school. And I think last year you had them come around the other way, so they push the snow the other way if we can get that. And just one other thing, they took a hunk of sidewalk out, just right at the start of the school property on this, well, it's only one sidewalk on this side, on the same street. The Explorer guys did that, and they had the sidewalk closed for a few days. Now it's open, but it goes down like this. So I noticed this morning, some people that had buggies and stuff for kids, they had a hard time getting down in it. I don't know whether I'm sure they're gonna repair the sidewalk, but even if we can get something in it just to level it up, or if they can, I guess it's their job, but they can level it up so people can walk through there, and then it's a little safer for the kids going in there.
Yep, I'll talk to the drivers, remind them about that.
Yeah.
With the first snowfall, everyone goes back to what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
already know, right?
Yeah.
And yes, I'll make a note, and we'll have our guys go over and at least top that off so it's a smooth.
Yeah.
Until they can get it
Okay,
repaired properly.
perfect. Anything else from council? Nope. Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report PW 2519 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, council.
Okay, and next is Trevor Bear, Manager of Community Services. Welcome, Trevor.
First report tonight is Blandford-Blenheim Helping Hands Food Bank report. Just a follow-up report from last council meeting. There was a request put in for space to store their products for the food bank. Staff reached out to the Helping Hands Food Bank volunteers, had a good talk with them about things, location, where they'd like it, what works for them. Centralized location is in Drumbo. And that's also good for the township as well, because it's kind of the center of the township. And it's good for the volunteers. So timelines, we talked about timelines. The timelines were, they don't think they need it right away, but they'd like to get a spot ready for the future. They'd like to get so they don't have to worry about it. They won't be moving in next week or anything, but it's in a private home now, and if it needs to be moved out, they just want to know that they can secure a place and have a place that's not going to be sold or moved, or people are going to be moved around. So that's kind of why they'd came to the township and asked us for a spot. So the best location that we determined would be the Drumbo booth over here, the Drumbo Canteen. Drumbo Canteen hasn't been operated since 2018. It is a storage area for our two user groups. The firemen use it for their weekend, and the Drumbo Lions use it for the weekend. Talked to Food Bank about that as well, and they're fine, comfortable sharing spaces with those two user groups. It's just, they just store stuff in there. So from a staff report back, the Drumbo food booth would work good for Blandford-Blenheim Helping Hands, and it's an area that's underutilized by the township at this point. And in the future, if the food booth was ever to be reopened, we could put a wall up in there and still have a food booth if needed. So it's a good location. We'd have to add 2 heaters to it because they'd like to keep it at like a 5-degree plus, which we got quotes on that. That was about $700, and it's about $200 a year to keep it at that 5 degrees in that booth. So that would be our operating cost for 2026 budget. But other than that, yeah, the staff went to Helping Hands to talk to them about location, what's best for them, how it would work good for them, because at the end of the day, that's to keep this thing running. If they're going to ask us, we might as well work with them. So that location over there would work well for them, and it's underutilized by the township. So just looking for
Any questions from council? Councilor Demers?
Thank you for doing that work, Trevor, and staff. It's certainly something that's really needed, and the cost to the township is minimal. I guess the only concern I have is not having a delineation between the storage area and the canteen. I know it's only used 2 or 3 times during the summer, but when it is used, it's fairly busy. There's a lot of people going through there,
Yep.
and not just volunteers. It may be helpful, and maybe this is down the road, maybe we try it for a year, I don't know, but having a wall there gives them shelf space, a place to put shelves up
Yep.
and things, but again, maybe that's something we raise money for through donations and stuff once we've tried it out for a year or so.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea, and I'm glad that we have an option to accommodate it. Just maybe down the road we can look at.
Yeah, and in talking to volunteers at the Helping Hands, they were on board to share it with those 2 groups right now. But in the future, yes, if it needs to put up a wall, they would work to put up a wall. It wouldn't be that much money to put up a wall either, to separate the 2 rooms, and one would have they both would have door access to the outside. So, but just to starting point and getting things going, and if things get growing, and this way they can separate their food a little bit more too. So,
That's
yeah.
a great option.
Anything else from council? Just one other thing too, and I'm sure we'll be able, that's not a problem, but we'll have to make sure in the wintertime the snowplow on their route is in and out.
I did, yes, that was another, we did talk to Helping Hands about that, and it doesn't need to be done right away, and I did
No.
talk to the roads Jim about getting it done, and he said it should be done
Yeah.
anyway, so we got it, they do some of it in there now, so
Yep.
it's just a little bit further in, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And realistically, even for the Lions Club and the firefighter, I mean, they weren't allowed in that section back in 2018 or whatever when the booth was running, so it's not that big a deal if we ended up, if we did have to put that wall up. I don't think it's that big a deal because they never used it before at all, so. Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, did we already?
No, we didn't.
No.
I was just
Sorry.
amending the motion.
Sorry.
That's okay. Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2525 be received, and further that council directs staff to move forward with refurbishing the Drumbo Canteen as a storage space for the Helping Hands Food Bank, including operating expenses in the future budget.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments? I just think it's a great idea. It'll be nice to have a permanent spot, absolutely. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you. And your next one.
Yes, the next one is just the Princeton District Museum Land Agreement Extension. Myself and Sarah met with the Museum Board to go over the land agreement. It expires this year, 2025. They've been in that location since 1997 with us, an agreement, and every 10 years it gets renewed. So this year we haven't seen much changes in there besides we added in the cenotaph and the gates for them to look after. It was in the 2009 agreement, but it was not renewed in the 2016 agreement, so 15 agreement. So it was just put back in there. It was just an oversight. So and it's pretty basic agreement that we've had for years with them. So
Okay. Just, I got any, go ahead, anybody from council? I just got one question. The library there, is that something the museum rents that space out to them, or is that something the township does?
no, the museum and the library work together.
They do that on
Yep,
their own?
They
Okay.
they come up I think they're in negotiations right now with the library.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Okay, can I get,
Read it?
go ahead.
Be it
Get ahead of
hereby-
myself.
Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2526 be received as information, and further that council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the updated land agreement between the Township of Blandford-Blenheim and the Princeton and District Museum to extend the agreement for an additional 10 years.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Counselor Banbury, second by Counselor Young. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, and your monthly report, Trevor.
Yep. Monthly report for this month. Staff, we did some in-house training with ammonia awareness with our refrigeration team from Simcoe. They came out and did a ammonia awareness course for training the staff. Yeah, also in the arena, we had a request from Plaza Minor Hockey for doing the live barn. We're looking into that. We're going to be doing a report back to you guys in December, next meeting, just to give you all the details about it and how it works. Arena's been running pretty smoothly. The community programs, they started pickleball on Thursdays at 11:30 in the Princeton Hall, and we're still working on starting the other programs in Plattsville and Drumbo. It's looking like December the 10th, Plattsville will start up with the crafts adult programming. So we hosted the Accessible Advisory Committee meeting at the Plattsville Arena in November. The focus was playgrounds. We talked about playgrounds. We had a special guest come in and talk about accessible playgrounds and how they function. All of their good representation from Oxford County and from the Accessible Advisory Committee, and I think every township was there but one. So it went over pretty smoothly, and yeah, just been, other than that, that's, yeah.
Okay, any questions from council at all? I just have one, of course I would, but this live barn, by any chance, will it make the Wi-Fi in the arena even be there? Any better?
Any better?
Because there's literally no Wi-Fi in there at all. I've had a lot of people
Some
ask.
people have good Wi-Fi. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's crap. So I agree with you.
Zero.
But I highly doubt it. It'll be a direct line for them to bring in their own internet. So
All right.
it won't be anything. It won't be through Wi-Fi. But I'll get you more information about that next council meeting. But I don't think it would up the Wi-Fi. It is through county now. And some people say they can get it, and some people say they can't. So you obviously can't get it.
I think I would be better with a tin can and a piece of string outside, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, maybe we can.
Maybe I'm dating myself a little.
We can
I
look
don't
at
know.
that too. We can have a look at that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
see why that's, I've never understood why some people are fine with it and some people are not, so.
Yeah, I have zero when I'm in there. It actually says no service at all. That's Rogers, so I don't know if that may be why? Yeah, could be. Yeah, okay. Anything else from council? Go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2527 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and next is Kevin, our deputy clerk. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to council. The report before you presents the 2026 Municipal Election Communications Plan. This plan outlines a clear, phased approach to all public election messaging leading up to voting day on October 26, 2026. With internet and telephone voting approved and IntelliVote and DataFix selected as our providers, coordinated communications are essential to ensure that electors understand how to participate confidently and securely. The plan explains how we will inform residents about the voting methods, how the process works, and what supports are available. Messaging will be neutral, factual, and accessible, helping electors understand how and when to vote, what to expect in their voter information letter, and where they can get assistance. Communications will begin in January 2026 and follow a structured timeline. Early messaging will introduce the voting method, while later phases focus on confirming voters are on the list, explaining PIN letters, and providing instructions and reminders throughout the voting period. The plan highlights accessibility and inclusion, including the use of voter help centers for anyone needing in-person support. It also addresses common concerns related to security, technology access, and voter confusion by providing consistent, clear responses. Finally, success will be measured through voter awareness, assistance requests, engagement with election information, and turnout compared to previous years. Overall, this plan provides a proactive framework that supports transparency, accessibility, and informed participation across Blandford-Blenheim. And I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Any questions from council? We're moving into the new era, I guess. Okay, nothing? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report DC 2519 be received as information, and further, that council endorse the 2026 Municipal Election Communications Plan attached to the report as the guiding framework for public communications related to the 2026 municipal election.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Barnes. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Demers.
I just want to comment, it was a fantastic report.
Yep.
Thank you,
Great
Councillor.
quality, very comprehensive. I love seeing communication plans. It's such a rare thing in municipal politics, and it's nice to have it all laid out. So thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, reports from council members.
Did you want to comment on the change of venue for the Lions Christmas thing, holiday thing?
Yep, we can.
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right, I've got 2 or 3 here. So on, well, I'll announce ones, I was handed this first. So December 6th at 2 p.m. is the Bright Santa Claus Parade. December 6th at 6:30 p.m. is the Plattsville Parade. December 13th is the Princeton Santa Visit at the Centennial Hall. It's at 2 p.m. And December 19th is the Drumbo Christmas Parade that's here, and we've changed our venue for it this year, mainly for safety of it. It's normally been up on the main corner. We've decided to move it over to the, well, I call it the cattle barn, but over at the fairgrounds, that's where we decide to have it this year, just because we think it's a lot safer with, because there's a lot of kids on that main corner with that, so that's where it's going to be this year, just so everybody kind of knows. Right, Trevor?
Oh, 11:30. 11:30 till 2.
Oh, did I not say 11:30 to 2? Sorry. Sorry, my apologies. The Princeton, December 13th is 11:30 to 2. Just a couple other things. The Snyder's Family Farm had a function on Friday night. The weather was a little rough getting there, but some staff and council went as well. Would there be 150 people maybe there, somewhere in there? So it was their kind of grand opening for their Christmas time up there. It is just an absolutely amazing venue. I've had a lot of people comment to me about it. I was particularly lucky to be able to turn the lights on the tree to start the weekend. I've had people comment to me, actually, and I never thought of it till after, is they said it was sort of like the vibe at that night was sort of that Hallmark movie vibe. So it was a really good night, well attended, and anyway, I just want to put out a huge thank you to them. I did mention that they're the largest employer in Oxford County, or in Blandford-Blenheim, and they're the largest tourist attraction in Oxford County. So that's hard to believe. But I think they have I want to say it's like 380 part-time employees or full-time employees there, or something like that, somewhere in that number. So it's absolutely huge. Anyway, it was fantastic. Just a couple other things. Oxford County budget is coming to Oxford County next Wednesday morning. So how their budget works is they present it, and then we put in notice of motions to either take stuff out or add stuff. Most of the time, a lot of it is to take things out, to lower it down. This year, I'm adding 2 things to it. The first one is council in June sent a resolution there to have a crosswalk in Princeton installed at Elgin Street. When talking to the Director of Public Works, their thoughts were to do it in 2027. To me, what made me think about it was the crosswalk they put at the school. They had to dig the whole road up to get the infrastructure underneath. So as we know, we're going to be finished paving there next year. So my notice of motion is to do it early and combine it with that, get it in, at least get the infrastructure under the ground, whatever they need there. If they don't want to do it till the next year, fine. But I put a notice of motion in to get that done before we finish paving, so they don't dig up the road after we just finish paving it. So that put in. The second one is, and the one person here from Plattsville might like this one as well. Don't know if it's going to happen, but the water in Plattsville is horrible, as everybody knows. The aesthetics is mainly part of it. So on our capital project is to do a filtration system in, I think it's 2029 to 2033. It takes a long time because they have to do an environmental assessment, the whole 9 yards. And we all know how long they take. Jim was talking about one with one of our bridges earlier, what it can happen. So I've put in to have that moved up into this coming year's budget, 2026, as well. To go along with that, I think the plans are to put a new well in Plattsville as well. So my thoughts are, what they planned on doing was doing the well, and then that would be a place to put the filtration system. So I moved in, the notice of motion is to move the well up and the filtration system up to start next year. It takes about 4 years, like I say, to get done. I don't know if it'll go through county council budget because there is a financial impact to it. There's probably going to be a debenture because we don't have enough capital funding in there. So that stuff has to pay for itself. So they've already increased, your water rates are going to be going up. So they've increased it to the maximum of what they could. So what the thoughts are is to do it more in a debenture. I can't remember the exact numbers of the debenture, but whether that gets through next Wednesday or not, it'll be voted on there. So hopefully that's a good project to get forward. I know a lot of, I don't think it really takes so much of the hardness out of the water, but it should take away, I think it's called a manganese filtration system. So what it does is it'll take that brownness that's in the water and the smell out of the water is what it's supposed to do. How much it'll do with the hardness, I don't know, but it's mainly for the aesthetics part of it. So that's a good news thing for Plattsville, if it makes it through budget at Oxford County. We'll see. So anyway, I think that's all I had on my list. Yep, that's all I have. Anybody else? Councillor Banbury.
Yeah, there's just one thing I wanted to bring to council's attention, and it's been in the news a little bit lately too. The provincial government wants to amalgamate a bunch of the conservation authorities. They want to bring it from about 32, I think, down to 6 or 7. We've discussed it at our meeting. We're kind of trying to take a constructive approach because the GRCA is one of the most prominent authorities in the province, one of the most populated and the largest, well, not the largest, but almost the largest, and greatest population. So I think the board has sent an email or text or messages to Oxford County, so they're requesting a resolution. Maybe you've already seen it, I'm not sure. You have. That's great. So I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention the reasoning behind it. I'm not 100% sure. I can speculate, but I'd rather do that in closed session instead of out in open council, because I'm not completely sure what the motivation is really. It would involve a lot of restructuring, and it kind of upsets the whole apple cart. It's taken years and years to establish these authorities the way they are, and ours is probably about the best in the province as far as management goes. We have the best talent, and we get the best results. A lot of the smaller authorities are they're struggling because they don't have enough finances. They don't have the population either for the levy, and so I don't know whether that's part of the reasoning or not. I don't know. There's all sorts of speculation out there, but We're not entirely opposed to some change, but I think this is kind of a drastic change, so I wish the province would just slow down and take it a little bit easier and try to come up with, which maybe they will, but they seem to be trying to push it through fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring your attention.
Yeah.
So if you hear any more about it, you'll know what it's about.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a resolution coming to Oxford County.
Well, they proposed a resolution,
Yeah.
so I think it'll be there.
Pretty sure it's coming. Okay, anything else from council? Nothing? Okay, no unfinished business. Motions, notice of motions, new business. Councillor Demers.
So I wanted to bring this to the attention of council. I think, as most of you know, the BMO branch in Drumbo is slated to close in June of next year. This is an unfortunate trend that we're seeing across the rural areas, and I think it's important to make sure that our voice is heard, that we're not real happy with this. Whether or not it has any kind of impact is questionable, but if we say nothing, then we're not going to get heard either. So, yeah, I'll just go ahead and read this. Whereas the Bank of Montreal has announced its intention to permanently close the Drumbo branch located at 19 Oxford Street West on June 19th, 2026, and whereas the Drumbo BMO branch has long served as an essential service within the community, providing accessible banking services to residents, seniors, community groups, and local small business, and whereas the loss of this branch will disproportionately impact seniors, individuals with limited mobility or transportation options, and small business who rely on timely in-person banking services. And whereas the closure of rural financial institutions has become an increasingly common trend across Ontario and Canada, with many national banks consolidating services into larger urban centers, resulting in reduced access to financial services, increased travel burdens, and diminished support for local economic activity. And whereas the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, FCAC, guidelines state that federally regulated banks are expected to undertake meaningful consultation with affected customers, community members, and local municipalities before a branch closure takes place, an important step to ensure that impacts are understood, alternatives are considered, and residents have an opportunity to provide feedback. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Blandford-Blenheim expresses its deep concern regarding the pending closure of Drumbo BMO branch and the negative impacts this closure will have on local residents and businesses, and that council urges the Bank of Montreal to reconsider its decision, or at a minimum, work collaboratively with the township to explore options for maintaining some level of local banking service, whether through adjusted operations, shared service models, community banking alternatives, or other innovative service options, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to MPP Ernie Hardeman, MPR Pancana, and the Bank of Montreal to advise them of the impacts of this closure and to request their support in advocating for the continuation of accessible banking services within the community.
Thank you, Councillor Demers. Anybody wish to, I would just leave it at comments or questions on it. Go ahead. Anybody? Yep, go ahead, Councillor Young.
I'm just wondering, I think this is a great motion, and I wonder if it's something like this has value in circulating with other municipalities other rural municipalities that, although this is specific, part of it is specific to Drumbo, largely it covers all of the rural areas that have probably been affected. And I don't know if that is something that can happen, or is it worth doing that? I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Through Mr. Mayor, absolutely to Councillor Young's comment, we can certainly include Oxford municipalities or rural Oxford municipalities. And I should note, it's my error. I initially had intended, I was asked to include Rural Oxford Economic Development Corporation on the motion, and we missed that, so we'll add them as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thanks for bringing this forward.
Anything else? Councillor Bamber?
I'm just afraid it's just a matter of time until the rural post offices will be closed as well.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do then?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be a trend. A lot of rural schools are closed, we know that. I guess it's supposedly for economic reasons. I don't know. I'm all for creating a resolution and sending it around, but I really have my doubts as to whether it'll do much good,
Yeah. You know, it's,
based on previous history of the
Yeah.
way things operate.
you know, we spend all our time trying to figure out a way how to keep our seniors and people in our communities.
And businesses.
Yeah, and businesses. And then it seems like everybody else is trying to figure out a way to get them out of our villages and into the urban center. And it's very frustrating. Like I think of somebody, my mom's not here anymore, but she would have no idea how to internet bank. And if you didn't have somebody to do it for her, it would just be horrible for a senior to lose that.
That's why we need more growth in these smaller communities to support a bank or, like Princeton,
100%.
they lost their Bank of Commerce,
Yeah.
Imperial Bank of Commerce closed down years ago. So a group got together and they talked about putting a bank machine in the post office. Well, it was there for a year or so. And some idiots hooked a chain on it and dragged it out the front door. So that was the end of the bank machine in Princeton. So if you want to bank with CIBC, you're doing it in Burford or Woodstock.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the kind of thing we're up against.
So,
But that's why we need growth. If we had
Yes.
more population in these smaller communities, there'd be more need for these services.
yeah.
So you can't blame the bank if they're losing money and they're getting robbed every once in a while. I mean, if you were running the bank, that's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
So,
So the part that bothers me too is this is our last bank in our township. It's the last one here, to lose it. I know it's, like you say, the one thing that really bothers me is the decision's made, then they're gonna have consultation, which is, you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous the way it's going forward. It's probably something mandatory they have to do. I think they're at, is it the 19th of January, the day? So I've already talked to the bank manager a little bit about it. I planned on going that day. I don't know if Councillor Demarest, if you wanted to, we'll book a time.
Yeah, I called them today too to find out, to ask the specific question about, you know, making the decision and then doing consultation.
Yeah.
And I haven't received a response to my question yet.
So we'll be able to,
It's counterintuitive.
yeah, let's ask those questions on the 19th. So I don't know if you want to or I can, whichever. We'll get together and book a time for that January 19th day, and we'll
Sure.
go there. I know we can't go any more than 2, or we have a quorum, so, yeah.
Just
Go ahead.
one
Yeah.
more, I guess one more comment, and I guess another reason why I sort of brought this forward is that, you know, the banks are experiencing record profits year over year. And as residents, not, as rural residents in particular, we're getting less and less service from them. Now, I recognize that, you know, they're established businesses and they have to make smart business decisions, but it's hard to reconcile those two things when customers are getting less service, but, you know, they're recording record profits again this year. So, you know, there needs to be some clarity on some of these things.
I think one thing that is, we're probably, almost all of us are to blame ourselves, is one of the biggest problems today is we all do online banking, we all do internet banking, and go to a money machine. So most of the time, nobody goes into the bank anymore. So they look at it and go, well, if people aren't coming to the till and they're just doing it here, well, then they can do it at home. We'll move it to Woodstock and they'll just do it from home. So we're almost kind of our own worst enemy when it comes down to it. I know I've heard some stories of some banks where 80% of the clientele hadn't been in a bank in over 4 years. So, you know, sometimes those decisions are easy for banks to make, right? Because of that. How do you argue that rationale if nobody's coming in it.
Yeah, it's,
No.
it's numbers. They're not
Yeah.
considering the human element.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like it's too soon. In a lot of these rural communities, we have an older demographic,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult for them
Yeah.
to, if they're not comfortable with technology. That's why I feel like it's too soon. I feel
Yeah.
like there should be more of a transition, but, and it's not like they don't have the money to
Yeah, exactly.
to take some losses.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anything else? So we have a mover, right, just on this, so we have a mover, do we have a seconder for it? Counselor Young, any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Counselor Demers, for bringing that forward. Okay, we have no closed session today, bylaws.
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be now read a first and second time. A, bylaw 2521, 2025, being a bylaw to establish a corporation of the Township of Blandford-Blenheim fees and charges. B, bylaw 2522, 2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1916, 2015, as amended, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of the council and committees and to prescribe the forms and manner and times for the provision of notice. C, bylaw 2523, 2025, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 1360, 2002 as amended, and D, bylaw 2524, 2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Counselor Barnes, second by Counselor Banbury, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. And third reading.
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be now read a third and final time. A, bylaw 2521, 2025, being a bylaw to establish the corporation of the Township of Blandford-Blenheim fees and charges. B, bylaw 2522, 2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1916, 2015, as amended, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council and committees and to prescribe the forms and manner and times for the provision of notice. C, bylaw 2523, 2025, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 1360, 2002 as amended. And D, bylaw 2524, 2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Counselor Demers, second by Counselor Young, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. And anything under other? Okay, and adjournment to next meeting.
Be it whereas business before council has been completed at 5:03 PM, be it hereby resolved that council adjourn to meet again on December 17th, 2025 at 4 PM.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Okay, moved by Counselor Barnes, second by Counselor Young, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Councilor.